At checkout, your basket is ready, until one line promises free delivery after spending slightly more. The missing amount feels less like a cost than a gap waiting to be closed. But why does the delivery promise appear beside your total? Exactly when your decision is easiest to change. The system does not need to force a purchase. It only needs to make adding feel cheaper. First, you choose an item for its usefulness, price, or immediate desire. Then checkout introduces a second target, not what you wanted, but what unlocks delivery. The shipping charge has not vanished. It has been converted into a reason to enlarge the order. Imagine two identical shoppers. One pays delivery directly, while the other adds an unwanted object to avoid it. The second basket may cost more overall, yet feels better because the visible delivery fee has disappeared. For a seller, the calculation is straightforward. A larger basket can help absorb delivery and handling costs. So the threshold is positioned near enough to tempt, but far enough to require another decision. Across thousands of carts, those small additions can reshape average order size without changing the advertised item prices. In effect, the extra merchandise helps subsidize a delivery experience presented as free. Sometimes the added item is useful. Sometimes it merely replaces a shipping fee with something sitting in your home. The consequence arrives later, when the parcel occupies space, the charge reaches the account, and the impulse becomes ordinary clutter. This does not require secret coordination. Ordinary incentives make larger baskets attractive to businesses and psychologically comfortable for shoppers. When free shipping changes your basket, are you buying the object or buying permission to avoid a visible fee? That question leads deeper, because the threshold is only one part of the machinery moving goods from warehouse to doorstep. Behind the checkout promise sits a meter measuring whether one parcel can carry enough value to justify its journey. The rule resembles a bus leaving on schedule. One passenger is expensive, while several share the same movement. In the early online retail era, qualifying order shipping offers turned delivery from a separate charge into a basket condition. A retailer can charge postage openly, or fold expected postage into merchandise margins and invite a larger order. The hidden calculation compares delivery expense with expected order value, handling effort, and the chance of additional items. Across thousands of checkouts, separate small gaps become a predictable pattern that planners can build into pricing decisions. Your original destination quietly changes. The basket now aims not merely at an object, but at a number. A higher margin item can help absorb the parcel's movement, even when the delivery line itself appears free. Shipping also responds to dimensions, so a light, oversized object may consume more transport capacity than its weight suggests. As online catalogs widened, threshold offers became easier to apply across many products, warehouses, and delivery routes. When several items travel together, picking and packing can be coordinated. Those separate inventory locations complicate that promise. The customer sees one promise, but the system may still split an order when products sit in different facilities. That is why thresholds often coexist with exclusions, slower service, regional limits, and items that cannot share the network. The threshold does not erase the toll. It hides the toll inside the route your basket must take. Once shoppers recognize the pattern, competing retailers adopt similar thresholds because refusing the convention can make checkout feel unusually costly. Repeated exposure teaches customers to treat delivery as something they should unlock, rather than something they should simply price. The added object may provide value, but its strongest psychological role can be granting permission to avoid an explicit charge. So the hidden rule is not free delivery alone. It is a route designed to make the basket move farther. The retailer compares each order's expected margin with the cost of moving, picking, packing, and servicing it. One truck journey becomes easier to justify when several profitable items travel together toward the same destination. Checkout quietly replaces the original goal with a second destination, a spending level the retailer can forecast. An open delivery charge is easy to reject, while the same expense buried across merchandise feels less confrontational. A higher margin item can quietly fund part of the trip without changing the delivery promise displayed to shoppers. Package space matters too, because a light, oversized object can occupy valuable vehicle capacity despite weighing very little. Across many orders, small basket expansions become a pattern planners can incorporate into inventory, pricing, and delivery forecasts. Grouped items can also make warehouse picking more efficient, especially when one order gathers products from nearby storage locations. But a single promise can conceal separate facilities, forcing one basket into multiple parcels and journeys. Exclusions and slower services protect the economics by limiting which products, destinations, and delivery speeds qualify. As more retailers adopt similar thresholds, shoppers learn to interpret ordinary postage as an unusual penalty. A retailer that charges openly can appear less attractive beside rivals, even when its total price is lower. The delivery toll has not disappeared. It has been transformed into merchandise, margin, and a condition for movement. Sometimes the qualifying item solves a real need. Sometimes it serves mainly as cover for avoiding a visible payment. After delivery, the system's success may remain as in used objects, storage pressure, returns, or delayed regret. None of this requires secret coordination. Predictable costs and predictable responses are enough to produce the design. Retailers gain larger, more forecastable orders, while shoppers gain convenience only when the added basket truly earns its place. And once the basket is enlarged, another system takes over. Memberships designed to make repeated delivery feel inevitable. At the enlarged basket, checkout offers another shortcut. Pay once, then stop thinking about delivery charges. The shopper accepts a trial or introductory period, motivated by the next order rather than the annual commitment. Behind that tap, the system records permission for recurring payment unless the shopper later interrupts the sequence. Membership removes the psychological toll booth, so each future delivery feels like passage already purchased. Without membership, each order faces a shipping decision. With it, the same decision becomes nearly invisible. A week later, a minor need appears, and the member remembers delivery as included rather than separately priced. Because the marginal delivery question has faded, the purchase threshold for small wants drops inside the shopper's mind. Repeated across members, those minor decisions create steadier demand, even when individual orders seem insignificant. The retailer can now anticipate activity around a recurring base, making inventory and delivery planning less uncertain. The benefit also creates a tether. Leaving means reconsidering a fee that has become part of the household routine. At renewal, the shopper may compare the membership's cost with remembered convenience, not every delivery actually used. A benefit can remain attractive through availability alone, even when the month's orders never required it. When the renewal date arrives, payment may proceed automatically while the shopper is occupied elsewhere. The system then measures continued membership, order frequency, cancellations, and which benefits keep the relationship active. Each convenient delivery strengthens a familiar path, making the next purchase feel like continuation instead of a fresh decision. The visible shipping fee has disappeared, but the trade-off has moved into recurring payment and repeated purchasing. Now the crucial question changes. Is each order solving a need or keeping an already paid pathway busy? Once delivery becomes routine, the system can shape what you buy next, not merely how much shipping costs. The order ends at the doorway, but its consequences continue through rooms, routines, and decisions. An unwanted item may travel again through return labels, sorting centers, inspection, resale, or disposal. What feels free at checkout can become paid labor elsewhere, performed by people the interface keeps out of sight. Retailers may absorb delivery costs, shift them into prices, or pass uncertainty through contracts and performance targets. One shopper receives a needed replacement. Another stores an impulse purchase that quietly competes for household space. Across a neighborhood, many individually convenient trips can create overlapping routes, stops, and traffic that no shopper sees alone. Faster service may reduce waiting for one household while increasing pressure on workers and vehicles across the network. Easy returns lower the fear of trying, yet they can also encourage decisions made before commitment has fully formed. The home gradually becomes a temporary warehouse, holding products between arrival, hesitation, return, and eventual use. Frequent shoppers, dense urban routes, and sellers with strong logistics often gain the clearest advantage. Infrequent shoppers may subsidize convenience they rarely use, especially when membership costs continue between purchases. A compact neighborhood can support clustered drops more easily than a distant home requiring a dedicated route. Large networks can spread fulfillment costs widely, while smaller sellers may face narrower margins or less predictable delivery access. The benefit is real when delivery replaces difficult travel, urgent errands, or inaccessible shopping options. The central trade-off is not convenience versus inconvenience, but whose time, money, space, and risk convenience consumes. The visible receipt records your payment, while an invisible receipt records labor, distance, packaging, and unused capacity. Every order also teaches the system what your household accepts, repeats, postpones, and treats as normal. Free shipping is therefore less an absence of cost than a decision about where the cost becomes visible. The visible receipt records money, while the hidden receipt records movements that continue after checkout. One delivery can pass through sorting, loading, driving, handoff, storage, and sometimes another journey. The same promise behaves differently when one parcel joins a dense route or travels alone toward a distant home. Convenience has different consequences across neighborhoods because delivery density determines how many stops share movement. A vehicle carries weight, but it also carries volume, making oversized light objects costly in a different way. A return turns the original doorstep into a departure point, sending the product through a separate decision chain. Return goods may be inspected, repacked, resold, discounted, liquidated, or discarded, depending on condition and economics. The cheapest operational choice is not always the choice that preserves the product, labor, or materials already invested. A faster promise moves waiting out of the home and into warehouses, loading bays, routes, and shift schedules. From the doorstep, speed looks effortless. From inside the network, it appears as timed tasks, handoffs, and compressed margins. Every completed, delayed, canceled, or returned order supplies evidence about which promises keep customers ordering. Once delivery becomes routine, a trip that once required deliberation can feel like background household infrastructure. The same delivery benefit can save vital time for one household and create unnecessary movement for another. Evidence therefore complicates the promise. Value depends on what the parcel replaces, not simply how quickly it arrives. The system can distribute one order's costs across merchandise, memberships, workers, routes, and future purchases. Nothing here requires a secret plot. Ordinary incentives align until the distributed cost becomes difficult to see. The parcel reflects not only what was purchased, but which forms of effort a household has learned to overlook. What arrives as a small convenience is also a record of distance, coordination, and choices made ordinary by repetition. Experiments on zero-price choices found that free can outweigh a better deal, even when the total cost is higher. The surprising product is not cheaper delivery, but a rearranged price that makes extra consumption feel like savings.